rolling. Who's ready? Moving.
Mom, make Dad tell the story right.
That's what really happened.
Phenomenal.
You can get it in a hole or up a pole. You can get it doing nothing at all. A hard-earned thirst needs a big cold beer. And the best cold beer is Vic. A long, cold Vic.
It's so hard to have a gay time on your own.
It could be that great chalk and biscuit coating.
It's so hard to have a gay time on your own.
It could be that smooth toffee ice cream in the centre. Or that whole delicious golden gay time taste.
Hard to have a gay time on your own.
Street's Golden Gay Time. Now available.
I'm Danny, and I'm here to call out all you crack pack bitches. You think I don't see you there? I'm the OG of this shit. But you come after the king, you better come correct. I'm Danny, motherfucker. Who are you? Crack pack. You smoke crack. You better watch your back.
I am a maverick. I am a savage. I am a legend. I am a madman. You never know what I'm going to do next. I am a mad lad.
Welcome, all you mad lads, bogans. Matt, have we got any mad whams in the house tonight? Why do I look really red? This must be the thing of the. Either way, how you bloody going? Did you enjoy the Aussie Australia Day show yesterday? I loved it. I love those shows. A little bit something different, a little bit fun, a little bit of chat interaction. I see D there in the chat says, I would try gay time beer. That would be something else. I did actually have a swig of beer while I was eating a gay time. It was an interesting little mix up there. But hope you are doing well tonight. We have a new guest joining us tonight. Never been on the show before. Fella by the name of Aaron. He's got a cool book over on Kickstarter called Wolfsbane. I think this is issue 2 he'll be promoting. And we're also going to be talking about this thing that's been going around. I see Zach's talking about it. I see Shane's talking about it. There's a comment left on Comics Drake's YouTube channel in the community section. I thought that would be an excellent discussion for my very knowledgeable audience who know all sorts of things about comic books that I don't know. I know a little bit. You guys know a lot. And I want to hear your guys' opinion. And also, there's that there's that White Savior comic from Dark Horse. I don't know if you guys have seen that. We're going to check out that as well, which is it's pretty interesting. But before we do any of that, we stand on tradition over here on this channel. And a man who gets many firsts has come back for another bite of the cherry. Is this your first of 2023, Rand? I think it might be. It's this fella right here, Rand Nada. Bang. Boom. First pole position. We've got 60 people here watching on YouTube. We have, let me check, drum roll. Let me see who's over on Rumble. There's one. It's Athaline. Thank you, Athaline. I'd like to get that up to 10 if we could. Building that channel over there on our road to 400 subs over there. I do think, apart from the big players, Yellow Flash, Tug, I do think I currently can lay claim to the biggest CG Rumble channel over there. So let's keep that going before one of the other big guys like John is just one day puts out a tweet and says, I've got a Rumble, follow me there. And it's like 1,000 people. Before that happens, Eric Grant, I see you over there. Yeah, let's build up this big tech business. Let's say hello to some people, actually. 5 minutes in. Oh, my God. Charlie Chan, how you going, buddy? Who else is here? Hostman Socrates, thank you so much for commenting on my shorts. You really helped me out over there. He says, Razorfist did an in-depth video on precisely this topic. Lord Nemesis calls me out and says, Bank comics aren't dead. I'm just asking the question. I'm the mess. Don't shoot me, Lord Nemesis. I'm just the messenger. But thank you for being here, nonetheless. This man right here can't make it tonight, as always, but he's going to howl the chat. So thank you, Mo. Howl, Mo Biggs. David G's here. Who else? Voyager's here. Bretsky the Great. Jeremy Burtz. Hale. Eric Weathers. Hyper Wizard. Did comics kill comics? That's an interesting way of putting it. Athaline. Dark Lord Fudd. Felix Huss, the Link Master. Who else is here? Who else can I spy? I probably should send the link to our good friend, our new friend. Well, we haven't met him yet. I haven't. I've seen him on some streams, though. So, bada bing, bada boom. He's got the link. All right, let me close that down. 72 people watching. Hal, thank you so much. Yeah, please like the stream. Subscribe if you aren't. And share it out on Twitter. That would be very much appreciated. 80s made. While we're waiting for Aaron to join us here, let's say hello to Micra. Say hi to Eric Grant. I'll do it again. Grey Wolf Comics. Micra says, I kind of feel like the 90s did kill corporate comics. They showed to hold your best characters and stories for your own stuff and give Marvel and DC your job of work. Can you imagine giving Marvel Spider-Man or Thanos or Iron Man and watching what happened with that, and you get nothing? Well, relatively nothing. No wonder these guys crashed out of the industry with a big FU on the way out. Checkpoints here. Grant v. Crosby. Perth Comics says hail. Stephen Rockwood says phenomenal. And Lord Nemesis just wants to point out that on this channel, we are inclusive of gay and trans kangaroos. And he's got a Velma avatar there. We are. Of course we are. I did have a good Aussie day. After the stream yesterday, I went into the front yard and played cricket with the kids. Does it get more Aussie than that? All right, I'm going to say hello to Jeremy. Jeremy's got a show after this. I will be sending the chat that way. And yeah, it'll just be a hangout chat, late night hangout chat. So go and check that out after the show. We've got to get this show started. There he is. I was wondering if he was going to come. Aaron.
Hey, nice to see you. How's it going, Michael?
Sue, thank you for being here. Nice to meet you. Haven't met you before. Just tweeted at each other. So it's great to have you here. Aaron, do you go by Aaron, or do you have a name that you use?
Oh, Aaron is just fine. Thank you.
Aaron, excellent. Well, Aaron, welcome. Here's the chat. Here's welcome to the show. Now, Aaron has a book here. I've got it pulled up, just so that all of you are aware. Let's cricket is better than Russian roulette. Says no. Very yeah, we used. I was telling the chat. I just was playing cricket with my kids yesterday, and there's a rumor going around, a nasty rumor that I play Russian roulette with my kids, which is not true.
No.
Technically.
How do you even play that?
Well, look, if you got a cap gun and you shoot it, anyway. Eric says Aaron is my white savior. Yeah, he could be.
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Hey, our palms are your palms are still darker than mine. That's how white I am. Look, I'm so white that my camera is turning me red. Hold on, I'm gonna put this down. All right, let me pull up your campaign because I want to tell people. I want to show people about it. I told Aaron that we'll be getting into it. About 40-minute mark. We'll jump into this book. It's a very cool looking book. It's part 2, yeah.
Yes. Part 2.
Part 2. There you go. So this man has already put a book out. Is this your second book, or have you been doing books for ages?
Oh no, I'm a first-time creator. This will be my second.
Excellent. I'm in your exact same boat. I'm about to release my second book in a couple of months. So excellent to hear. Yeah, it's a really cool looking. It's a why is Kickstarter like this? I don't understand Kickstarter. There we go. Wolfsbane. That looks better. 32-page, fully colored horror crime comic. The link is, I'm going to pin the link. I've been pinning the Rumble link. We've got 4 people watching over on Rumble. Let me put in Wolfsbane. I'll put the link there into there, and I'll try and pin that. There it is. Replace pinned message. Unhinged says, aloha. I think I saw Aaron on Red Valkyrie. Oh, there you go.
I don't think I was on Red Valkyrie. It would be nice if I was, though.
I'm sure they're very friendly people. I'm sure if you reach out, they would. Andy Gogo says, Andy Gogo. I dig that art. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Aaron reached out to me and I checked out his book. I was like, yeah, for sure. We'll definitely talk about this. My new policy going forward, promoting books, is if I think it looks cool and you seem to be a cool person, come on down. Let's talk about your comic.
Pretty good policy.
And happy to promote it. But before we do any of that, I've promised the people a little bit of comic discussion. I've promised the people a little bit of cringe. This book looks familiar, says Unhinged. Well, it's the second issue. So you might have seen the first one floating around. Eric Grant says Wolfsbane 1 was really cool. Looking forward to number 2. There's a lot of potential with this IP. Excellent.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, man.
Hashtag Bogan approved. Do you know what a Bogan is, Aaron?
I do not.
Oh,
Is it?
I love it.
What is a Bogan? Is that like a Baga?
It's a Bogan. A Bogan. How do we explain a Bogan to someone who is uninitiated? In Australia, a Bogan is sort of like a working class, just down to earth, a bit trashy, but not like in a bad way. Like they don't take themselves too seriously. It's also doing things on the cheap. Some people say it's like an Australian redneck, but I think people when they say redneck or hillbilly, sometimes there's a bit of a negativity to that. When you're in Australia and you're a Bogan, there's Bogan pride. You're proud of your Boganhood.
That's
so
nice.
It's a bit like that. Anyway, I call the chat the Bogans, and they somehow put up with that. So it's like they've adopted that. It's like the Kardashians without style, says Hajina. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Well, there is a cashed up Bogan. If you're a Bogan and you make a lot of money, they'll call you a cashed up Bogan. Like you could never stop being a Bogan. It's like a class system down here.
Yeah.
There is such a thing as redneck pride, Michael. Well, yeah. Look, I've never actually been to the States, so I can only say what I see out there in the internet. All right. I promised you something here before we get into Wolfsbane. David G, though, for $10. Bogan equals an unrefined person? How dare you?
Ooh.
It's accurate. It's pretty accurate. Yes, that's pretty good. Pretty good. We don't mind being unrefined. We are people of the people. That's what we are. Thank you for the super chat, David G. Jasper's joined us. He says, did I miss anything good? We're about to jump into this, Jasper. Do you know who Comic Drake is?
I do know who Comic Drake is. I used to watch him back in 2018.
Yeah, I'm not aware. I got into comic YouTube through your boy Zach, Diversity in Comics. Until then,
Yeah.
I didn't really watch too much comic book stuff on YouTube. So this guy's got a massive channel, 427,000 subscribers. Anyway, he put out this community post, and it's causing a little bit of a stir, as it happens, believe it or not, when you put opinions out there on the internet. And I just want to read it, and then I want to get your opinion, and I want to get the chat's opinion on this. How old are you, by the way, Aaron?
Oh, I am 25. So I'm a little young.
All right, so you're his age. So you are. That's interesting, because that's a point I want to bring up, and we're going to get to it. Is I think it's different for people who lived at this time and people who are looking back on it. So let me just read it. It says, I'm sorry, but the Gen X dudes, I guess that's me, that romanticize 90s comics and cry about how the comic industry needs to return back to the overly dark and edgy, homoerotic, but sometimes homophobic muscle dudes with all their spikes, belts, and poorly drawn feet, don't seem to realize that they're mostly just obsessed with nostalgia. There's a whole bunch of reasons why the comic industry imploded in the 90s and haven't recovered. But a very significant factor was that a lot of the books back then were just bad, going for flash and gratuitous violence over quality storytelling. This could probably be a dedicated video covering the rise and fall of 90s comics, clickbaity, how the 90s killed the comic book industry. Is that something you'd want to watch? Well, look, do you have any first thoughts on that? Have you read this before? Did you see it?
I have not seen this, but I don't know. I wouldn't particularly say that the 90s were like the be-all, end-all killer of comics. Because, like, didn't they come back, like, in the 2000s and then all these events? Yeah.
They did. That's where, like, he says they haven't recovered. But I think they really sort of did recover in the 2000s. Yeah.
Exactly. Because you have to think, in the 2000s, what saved their butts was they sold the rights to the movie studios, and then Spider-Man and X-Men came out, and that sort of kept them afloat a little bit. And then after, like, I think it was like 2014, what was the first Avengers versus X-Men comic?
Yeah.
I think that was the beginning of the end.
That period of time is a black hole to me with comics. I was really out of it from the 90s till about, the mid 2000s. The only ones I was reading were just, I'd randomly pick up a Star Wars one or something because I knew I could. Well, precisely one of the reasons why I think comics is heading is because I knew I could just jump into it and know who all the characters were. Whereas in comics, I was, anytime I pick something up, I'm like, I didn't recognize, even the characters I know, I didn't really recognize them. They'd changed so much. So, people ask me about that era. I don't know much, but I know about 90s, and I do think you're right. And I see a lot of cool comments in here. There was a lot of trash in the 90s, but there was a lot of gold too. Who was it? I think it was Shane who brought up that a lot of the best stuff of the 90s, the really top, like Silvestri and Jim Lee and, well, the guys. It was really the flow and effect from how good they were in the 80s, I feel. That's what Shane says, and I agree. I started collecting in the 90s, and when I sort of got into back issues, I was like, wow, these are so much better. I love them. But there still were obviously really popular comics in the 90s, and they sold in the tens of millions. I mean, some of these things were just off the chart. And that's sort of where I think, I don't know, this take is a little off. Like, there's some things that, you can argue this is true, that's not true, but there's some things in this take that I do take a little bit of, I don't really agree with here. Jeremy says, the 90s were great, but it's not all there is. There's real good stuff from the 70s and earlier. Yep. I wasn't really into the 70s. I like the art, but to me, they really came into their own in the 80s. Tiny Baby Sloth, this dude is basically guessing what he thinks happens. That's another point I want to get to, Tiny Baby Sloth. It is sort of a case of you kind of really had to be there to know why people who are still into comics now, who were living in that time, do have kind of nostalgia when it comes to that era. Fear Lantern, pre-Avengers, Marvel and DC knew how to capitalize on a sale when movies dropped. They failed when the Avengers came out. We've done whole videos on that. This is a person that wasn't there talking about talking out of his ass. The 90s were the best era for comics in a lot of ways. I know a lot of you guys agree with that. And anytime someone puts out a book now, a crowdfunded book that has that same spirit of the 90s, they seem to do very well. People really get amped up about it. I don't think it's purely just nostalgia. I mean, I think when you say nostalgia, that's sort of putting a negative turn on it, because I think what's happening is they just want stuff to be good again. And if you've been around a while, and it's not just comics, movies, music, TV, stories, whatever, games, maybe not games, I don't know, but a lot of stuff does seem to have been better previously than it is now. Maybe that's this happens in every generation. But I think, I don't know, look at the popular music of today versus the popular music of decades past. I don't think there's a comparison personally, but movies in the last 10 years, I think, have taken a nosedive for the large part. I think people just want good stuff. And that's what they think the nostalgia is, quote unquote. I just don't want to miss any of these cool comments here. I'm sorry, there's so many now. We've got 118 people watching. Oh my God, I think I'm going to have to miss some of them. Nolan Lockhart just backed 8-in-1 creature feature and a physical copy. Anybody with Bancross approval is cool by me. Cheers. Thank you so much,
Thank you, man.
Nolan.
I really appreciate that, man.
Thank you for the super chat as well. There's too many. I'm sorry, guys. There's way too many comics. You guys are rocking the chat. It's going crazy now. 120 people here in the chat. 7. Look, were 90s comics bad? Some of them, obviously. But it's just like when any kind of creative boom happens and everyone wants to get involved. And I remember everyone wanted to get involved. You're going to have bad ones. You're going to have great ones. I don't think you can just paint the whole thing as, what is he painted as? Overly dark, edgy, homoerotic, sometimes homophobic muscle dudes with spikes, belts, and polygon.
Yeah, but not all of them are like that, though.
No, of course not. Of course not. And here's the crux, and this is what I think it was Yazak pointed out. Let me just actually drop this down. He pointed out that there was a difference in what they were doing, as in how they were going about it. Like in the 90s, sure, a lot of the comics did suck, but they were genuinely trying to make good comics to sell them. They were genuinely excited. They were really, there was effort in there. Whereas today, I feel like a lot of the time, it's not that they're not really going for that. It's sort of more, they're trying to fan bait. There's a lot of, oh, we're going to make the fans angry, or we're going to get people write articles about our comic if we do this, or we're going to put this, or they're not even caring about writing a comic. They just, I've got an agenda to tell. I want to get, it's our time now to get, I don't know, women front and center in a Thor book or whatever it is. So we're going to do that. And it's like, that's the reasoning behind it. It's completely different to how it was in the 90s. In 90s, it was really just, how can we make this thing the most kick-ass, badass, explosion, guns, craziness that we possibly can, because we think that's fun. Whether or not it turned out to be fun, that's up to debate. But I think there is a very big difference in the approach. And that was Zach's point, which I thought was a good point. You guys are saying it's soulless now. Yeah, it feels like a lot of the creativity is just gone out of the industry. For better, like when I say like for better or worse, whether 90s comics good or bad is, up for debate. They sold. That was the thing. They did sell. There was actual superstar writers and artists working in comics as bootleg, and now there aren't. So they big mad. Yeah, you could look at that. I mean, there are some pretty big people, but yeah, not like Silvestri, not like Jim Lee, Tiny Baby Sloth. They didn't suck, Michael. There was a lot of options. Comics were actually booming. When Image came out, everyone thought they were going to be the next McFarlane, Lee, Liefeld, Silvestri. Yeah, that's when I got into comics. I walked into a newsagent, picked a comic off the shelf. It was awesome. And I didn't look back until the sort of floor fell out of the whole thing with all the speculation and what led me out of comics was actually, I had to buy friggin' 12 issues of all these books I didn't want to read just to follow a story because everything was connected. And I just wanted to read Spider-Man comic. Leave me alone. Like, I've only got so much money. And that's what happened to me. It wasn't that the comics necessarily, sucked. It was that. So I think the difference here, and this is like where this guy can't really know is because he wasn't there, is today's industry is a victim of its own failures. They prop up people who fail. Oh, this person's book didn't sell. All right, well, let's just put him on another book. Oh, this character sucks. No one likes it. That's okay. We'll give him another. We'll just cancel this thing and we'll give him another, miniseries or whatever it is. So they're sort of they're a victim of their own failure. I think in the 90s it was the actual opposite. I think they were a victim of their own success and the excesses of that era. You could talk about the speculator market. You know, people were buying, and Shane talked about this, people were buying crates of friggin' Spider-Man #1 or the X-Men #1 or Spawn #1, thinking they were gonna, you know, make millions back or something. The industry made a lot of poor choices because I think they just thought this was the new normal. This is how it's going to be now. Like, comics are just everywhere and they're the hottest thing, and we're going to sell millions going forward. And it, you know, obviously it wasn't quite the case. So I do think there's a slightly difference there, but you know, it is important. Like, he wasn't there, he didn't have firsthand experience. So for him, this is all a bit of a intellectual discussion for him. You know, he didn't actually personally feel the fun and buzz and excitement of the 90s, and stores and like the big boom of stores coming in, and that's the way I think of it as well.
Honestly, I think that he's just using the 90s as a prime example, because a lot of the times when you hear people bring up the failures of comics, some of that stuff was like, you know, like the most popular examples are from the 90s. When you have examples like Avengers vs. X-Men wasn't good, Spider-Verse 2, although it was a little bit of a success, it wasn't really that good. I don't know. There's so many examples now where I actually feel like crossovers are the main things doing everything in.
Well, it's been a long time since I've actually bought probably 2 years now, 3 years since I've actually gone into the store to buy, you know, an ongoing floppy, month to month. So I'm kind of way out of it now. And all I do at this point now is look back and see what's going on over there, because there is a connection with what we're doing here in the indies and what goes on in the mainstream. That's where obviously the vast, overwhelming majority of focus is on. And we try and say, hey, like, if you don't like what they're doing over there, there's other cool stuff going on, and come check it out. So that's sort of why we talk about it. But I can't really get into the ins and outs of exactly why, like what's happening in each book or anything like that, because I'm not really paying enough attention anymore. What does Trey say? Didn't want to talk about past failures from other eras, but everybody wants to try to get to the 90s. It's just like, yeah, but when they need to doing better than today's comics. One thing about the 90s, there was general excitement. Yeah, that's the thing. Like,
yes.
You really can't, like, I can't explain to you, Aaron, what it was like at that time, what it felt like to be into comics. It was like there was just endless. Everyone felt like there was just endless hope and potential and enthusiasm. And if something didn't really land, it didn't matter, because the next thing right next to it was just like, oh, that's super hot. Things were coming out like, oh, look at what Image were doing, and yeah, it was a crazy time. And I wish the younger guys who were into comics now could feel that with the mainstream, because now you do get that feeling in certain pockets here and there, especially if you're really into the indies or you're into certain things, but it's not quite the same. Hey, Daniel Russell, I think just backed your book back in number 58. How Daniel Russell? Fantastic. Hostman says the only comics I get these days are indies, manga, and bande dessinée. Yeah, that's me too. I don't read manga, but indies and bande dessinée, absolutely. ID Crisis for 4.9. He says muscle dudes are spikes and belts like it's a bad thing. He also forgot about the boobs and butts. Yeah. He also says it's like homophobic, or homoerotic. I don't know. Like that's looking at. I don't like it when it happens with youth, and I guess that rolls through the generations. People look back on past times with the lens of today. So, like looking back at, I don't know, the Top Gun shirtless volleyball scene and saying, "Oh, that was really gay." Maybe like I didn't think it was back in the day. It didn't feel like that to me. But you know, if you think it's like, "Oh, this is really homoerotic that all these guys are big and muscly and fighting each other," like I think that's something you're putting onto it.
True. It's like wearing crop tops.
Yeah. Things change. Things change. Exactly. Like you see these 80s movies with these guys, and they're like the tough guys, and they're wearing crop tops so you can see their bellies. It's like,
yeah, it's like, yo,
don't really fly. Here? Yeah, exactly. What is Tiny Baby Sauce says? Comic Drake did not collect Pogs or Flare cards. He didn't know that the X-Men cartoons were like the Marvel movies for us now. It's fairly obvious he's a moron. I don't know if he's a moron. I've never watched his show. You know,
I know he makes some points now every now and then, but everything is just like in a little bubble. At least that's
Look. Hey, you know, but everyone's obviously entitled to their own opinion.
Exactly.
I just thought like I have a slightly different opinion to this guy, and I do think the fact that he wasn't there, it's sort of like there's a missing piece of the puzzle for him.
Gotcha.
That like he doesn't quite get. Jasper Plan 9, there's no competitive mentality between publishers and creators anymore. The attitude used to be about doing better than the last guy. That's quite possibly. Apparently, I've missed a super chat. I apologize. So I grabbed ID Crisis's. RCV. Long live my mother effing Guays. Also, back the Guayzine. Yes, please do. Guayzine over there on Comics Guay. I'm sure Felix has dropped the link for that. Great guys. Creators fail up today. Well, not in the indies. In the indies, you got to pick yourself up by your own bootstraps. So that's what we like doing over here. Speaking of that, I will just shortly show you guys. This is Aaron's book here, Wolfsbane in Sheep's Clothing. It's a 32-page, fully colored horror crime comic. We'll get into it in about 10 minutes time, but I have something else I want to show you. But it's a great looking book. We're going to get to know Aaron a little bit more. I like to see that some of you have already backed. We've got 150 people watching on YouTube. How many? We've got 5 people watching over on Rumble. That's 160 people all in all. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Please do like the streams. Subscribe if you haven't. Share them out. Is it a crop top or a shirt if it doesn't fit you anymore, but you wear it anyway? It is a bit like that as you age. Things do tend to fill out a little bit. Melanie B, we love the Hui. Yeah, we do. Why wouldn't we? Sup, Peter Gilmore. Excellent. All right. I want to show you this. This is I really hesitated talking about this. I tweeted it, and then I deleted the tweet because I don't normally get into this. I don't normally like find a book and go and like really get into it and say, "Oh, this is trash."
I feel you.
I try to keep it more broad because obviously there's like, but I do think, and I think Zach kind of hit it on the head here. I do think this really missed the mark. And especially when I look at it in the context of what's going on today out there in the comic sphere, essentially you got a whole bunch of people now, like especially here in Comicsgate, a whole bunch of people who are like, finding it harder to get themselves out there without people trying to tear them down while they're doing it. The biggest thing they run into is people like say like, "You're racists. You shouldn't be making comics. You shouldn't be in comics because you're racist," and everyone, claps and all that sort of stuff. Meanwhile, Dark Horse puts out this comic. Now, ostensibly, it's a satire comic. So it's supposed to be a comic that is taking on stereotypes through satire. But again, like Zach's been on point lately. The thing about a satire is it has to be funny. If it's not funny, it just looks like you're attacking someone. And in this comic, that's how it comes across because the comedy didn't land. So essentially it's about a white savior. Everyone's familiar with the white savior trope, where a white person goes to a country like, I mean, you can look at Daenerys in Thinger. You can look at what does he say? Like the is it the last? I love the Last Samurai. By the way, I don't care like what anyone says about like that movie. Friggin' rocks. But anyway, we all know the trope, and it's essentially, but it's not funny. So all it does is you can just sort of end up taking what's written on the screen at face value, and it just comes off as mega cringe. And it's like, how come these guys can go around really like doing this really racially charged stuff? I mean, they can do it. That's their prerogative. They can free to do what they want, but no one calls them out on it because they're on the quote unquote right side of history. It's BS. I really like what Zach said here about it, so I just want to read it quickly. But before I do, Sumo Thori Hale gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much, Sumo Thori. You are a bloody legend, my friend. Let me find this for you right here. Oh no, where is it? Where have I put them? There they are.
You little ripper! Thanks, lads.
All right, let me scroll. I just want to check I didn't miss anything there. Okay. So what does Zach say? Again, I don't normally do reviews of books like this, but I just thought this sort of falls within our wheelhouse. You talk a lot about overreach and that sort of stuff on this channel. So I thought let's do it. You thought that nobody was less funny than Chip Zdarsky. You were wrong. Scott Berman has got to be the unfunniest writer on the planet. I saw some people being offended over this book for being racist. But that's the least worst part of this truly awful book. The art is okay. I agree. I quite like the art. It reminds me a little bit of Donald DeLay. The problem is that the humor has a 99% failure rate. The only joke that was even halfway funny was when they spelled fuck nuggets as fug nuggets. I keep thinking while reading this, I bet this guy loves The Daily Show. I love a return to a little bit of spicy Zach. I want to see more of it. As the bad jokes accumulated, I got the full measure of the writer. My appraisal got even worse. I bet this guy loved Full Frontal with Samantha Bee. Oh, this is the people don't realize this is how Zach used to talk. Crib Death is funnier than this book. Oh my god, that is hardcore spice. Not a recommend. This is the page that everyone's been sharing out here. Where he's so essentially the white savior, but he's like a complete sort of racist trope of a inbred what do you guys call them over there in the States? Like a yokel,
a hick,
I suppose you would call a hick. There you go. Hey, you all listen. And you listen good. The savior wants food. I'm sick of all this noodle and rice shit. Give me some utensils, not these goddamn wooden things. They break every time I stick them in my foodstuffs. You ever hear of a knife and a fork? You need to treat your savior better. You want to kill Kenji's men, then you follow me because I'm clearly smarter and stronger and better than any of you rice-eating rice eaters. I've killed so many people. Oh man, they're so dead now, staring at me and give me a bucket. Stop staring and give me a bucket. I'm going to puke. I got a puke coming on. All right. So
everything.
Yeah. What are you saying?
So I was going to say, everything's just out there. Like, he's not being subtle or anything. Like, what the fuck?
No. As Liam says, holy shit, actual racism. Yeah. How racist. That's it. Like if the satire doesn't hit, all you really have left is to read it on face value. And like they can say it's satire. I really need to work on my country accent. I do. They can say it's satire all they want. But if it isn't funny and it doesn't have a good message, like satire needs to have be saying something about the thing. So when does the book become funny? Asked Pootleg. This is plain bad, right? Well, I think it's here. It's funny where he says, "My balls! I landed on my balls." What was that? I think someone landed on their balls. That's leave it or take it or leave it. Look, and there's actually an article here where they they interview the the guy, and it's all about he's all about representation. It's all the normal talking points: representation, fighting back against stereotypes and tropes, and flipping tropes on their head and all this sort of stuff. So they were actually trying to have a message, but it clearly didn't work. Painfully unfunny, says someone there in the chat. And it's like, it's this thing. It's like, oh, we're going to fight stereotypes with stereotypes. We're going to fight discrimination by discriminating. No. So this thing is getting shared around. It's getting called out. And it's like, Dun Ringle, satire has to have that wink to the crowd feel to get it right. Lecture the crowd doesn't work for anyone. Yeah, that's what it comes across. It just comes across as like, we don't like white people, and we're gonna use that as a cudgel and sort of a anyway. It's you know what it is? It's revenge storytelling. And I'm not really down with it at all. Liam's asking who edited it. Don't know. Artist is Eric Nguyen. I dig his art. It's pretty cool. For a certain kind of book, not for everything. Written by Nguyen and Scott Berman. So yeah, I don't know. But anyway, there was that. I thought that was a. Most of all, I wanted to point out. Wow, return to 2017. Spicy Zach. That last comment was. Oh my God, that's the sort of stuff that used to get him in trouble a lot. That's why he's not on Twitter anymore. He'd get he'd get cancelled. All right, moving on. Let's look at something awesome. Let's look at Wolfsbane, and I want to play this trailer because it is awesome too, which means I have to stop the screen and share it again with the Chrome tab. If I can. Where is it? No, that's not it. Oh, I've got to put it in Chrome. Oh my God, StreamYard, figure it out.
Tell me about it.
Do you stream?
Oh no, I tried streaming. I'm not really a camera person.
Yeah, no, you do. You're doing great. You're fine. A lot of people like that. They think, "Oh, I'm not good on." If you can hold a conversation and you have a good mic and a good camera, you're ahead of 95% of the crowd out there. So,
yeah, that makes sense.
All right. Well, we have looked at what's going on in comic books. Let's look at what's going on in some indie comics. And I will play you the trailer of Wolfsbane in Sheep's Clothing. Then we'll get into the book and answer all of your questions.
Gotcha.
Excellent. People are liking it. It's great to see. This project is at 50% of its goal. Help bring it to life. That you guys have to be part of that. If you like what you see here, do help bring it to life over on Kickstarter. Now, I haven't promoted many Kickstarters. I suspect I'll be promoting a lot more into the future. A lot of the people here in this scene in CG, and I'm going to be heading over there. And I've backed a ton of stuff on Kickstarter, but there's some really cool stuff over there. So, Aaron, first question I saw in the chat is, are you the artist on this?
No, I'm only the writer.
Hashtag
props-
just a writer.
Yes. Real props go to Thomas Muzzle, who does my inks and interior pages. Alex Kutry, who does my colors, and Tom Beavis, who does my lettering. They're all a really good team.
Excellent. And this is your second book that you've ever done. It sounds like the first book did well. You've got some fans in the chat. Yeah, congratulations on the team, man. The art looks amazing. Now, you sound like you've been into comics a while. When did you decide that you wanted to actually start making one?
Actually, I'd say 4 years ago. And that was actually a pretty wild ride. So I started with this guy. He was on Facebook, and he pretty much wanted me to help him create this whole new universe that he was doing. But things fell through, and I decided, hey, I might as well just do this stuff on my own. And here I am.
Excellent. All right. I think let's get just a quick sort of, what's the elevator pitch? What sort of story is Wolfsbane? We know it's a horror. What did you call it? A horror crime?
Yeah.
Comic. Clearly, we've got werewolves in there. So, what happens in Wolfsbane? What can people expect?
So, Wolfsbane is pretty much about this teenage werewolf who has stress-triggered transformations, and because he's a teenager, that's very difficult for him. And the main point, the main purpose of the book is pretty much having him go out there and try to protect his little town from other things that go bump in the night, but he also has to protect them from himself.
And is it this is part 2? Is each issue sort of individual stories? Are they episodic, or is it all part of a longer story that you're telling?
Oh, this is all part of a longer story.
Yep. So what happened in the first one, and then what happens in this one? What can you tell us about it?
So in the first book, it starts off with like a murder investigation. The main cop up there is in charge with figuring out what happened. He goes to this girl and tries to get information out of her. And long story short, he runs into the werewolf, and he gets his crap wrecked. Let's just say that.
as you can imagine, running into a werewolf at a crime scene.
Exactly.
Oh, what's going on here?
Oh, this is just a little homage to the Friday the 13th franchise, pretty much.
Oh, in what way?
So, you know, like how you have the teenagers, they're off trying to, do that in the woods.
I remember.
Yeah. And
usually that doesn't end well for them, I remember.
Oh, it's definitely not.
Anytime you see Tit in a horror movie, she gonna die.
Yeah, definitely.
Sumo's figured it out. He's like, I know why Bancroft likes this book. No nipples. I don't like drawing nipples on like when my character's there and you can sort of see them through the t-shirt. All right, that's my personal preference. It's become a big no nip meme. Melanie says it's the only way, Sumo. But yeah, excellent. I remember there was Friday the 13th. I can't remember what one it was.
Oh, yeah.
There was a lot of deaths, a lot of kills, and we figured out like a code in how we would do it. And we said whenever he didn't have any weapons on him, but if he would just look left, and he would find a sharp object like a machete or something that cuts. One of them was a line trimmer, like a whippersnapper. And then if he looked right, he'd find something blunt, like a big stick or whatever. One time he used his belt and he like squeezed someone to a tree. And we're like, he's gonna kill. It was great. It was hilarious. They're fun. They're fun movies. So that's cool. So you're really inspired by the kind of horrors and thrashes and.
Oh yeah, definitely. A main inspiration for this was the old Universal and Horror Hammer Productions movies. So
you're gonna You're gonna find a lot. That was part 5. Thank you, Nora. I knew we'd have some horror fans in the chat.
Nice.
Oh, the brush cutter was in New Blood. I can't remember. I just thought we were just like, oh my god, we figured out the code.
That's the one with the fake Jason, wasn't it?
I can't remember, man. It was like We watched it 20 years, probably more than 20 years ago. Neil says this looks awesome. I will back this. Yeah, well, please do. There's lots of tiers, as all Kickstarter books. There's always a lot of tiers. You've got digital here for people who don't necessarily want to go all in on the physical straight off. But let's get down and see. It's funny how Kickstarter, you got to lay it out on Kickstarter because you don't have any images on the perks.
Definitely. That should be a thing that they change.
Yeah, well, look, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to be going onto Kickstarter for the first time. It's going to be interesting sort of seeing how that all works out. I'll still be staying on Indiegogo as well, but I've also got my own website. That's where everything's laid out exactly how I wanted to. Nate says it looks great. Do you have any sketches available?
Like the pencils?
Yeah, or maybe like a sketch tier, like some people do. Buy the book and get a piece of art from the artist or something. I don't know.
Not on this one, but that's actually pretty interesting. I might do that in the future.
Yeah, do. If the artist wants to do it and they can do it, they're usually are pretty popular tiers.
Okay.
This looks great.
I do have a for the classic edition, you get the inks. I don't know if that counts though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe that's not what he was asking, but either way, there's a bunch of tiers on here, lots of different things to select. Let me zoom out here so we can see the full thing. Drew Struzan inspired cover, drawn by Thomas Muzzle, colored by Alex Kutry. It's a great team, man. These look. I mean, it really looks like what you're describing in terms of the book that you're talking about here, the horror out in the woods. Look, there's a pier. There has to be a pier and a lake. Cool moon too. Dope.
Really a dope
monochromatic cover. No, I'm assuming you have issue 1 available on the campaign as well for people who want to catch up.
Oh yeah, definitely. In the digital catch-up tier, that is $8, and it's $20 if you want it with the book 2.
Bootleg says, sorry, man. Bootleg says
good.
15 shipped for a 32-page full-color comic is a great price. This is exactly the sweet spot for indie books, in my opinion. Yeah, that's it. Like a bit of a thing. Like I see guys going cheaper, and I'm like, God bless them. I couldn't, but and then again, you see people going more expensive, and you're like, that's becoming a really hard sell. I've got a 32-page book coming out after my next campaign as well. That will also be $15 too. I think it is a good selling point. Geek Hero, this looks great. You got a lot of people are digging the look of this. Who's this character here?
Oh, this is Lawrence, the werewolf character.
Okay, so that's him as a werewolf, and that's him.
Yes.
Normal. Do your werewolves have anything different than we know from normal werewolf lore? Like, is there any sort of twist that you?
There is a twist, but I don't want to get into that because that actually spoils stuff that happened deep in the future.
Yeah. Fair enough. You're sort of laying the ground for that as it continues on.
Oh, definitely.
I hear you. Lots of covers available on the campaign, so pick and choose what you want, I presume. Stretch goals here. How many backers are you up to?
Right
is that a 6 a.m.?
Yes, it is. Yes,
awesome.
It is.
I've got one of them too. That's great.
Dude, 6 a.m. is so good.
He crushes. He absolutely crushes. Love that guy. Hang on. My wife is messaging me. I just need to check. My phone. She tells me when I've missed things.
I feel that.
No, I got all those super chats, so we're good. Hang on, let me scroll back up. So 58 back. It's got a while to go until we're unlocking stretch goals, but there's a lot of stuff on here to buy. T-shirts too. Have you sold any T-shirts? I know that they're a stretch goal, right?
Yeah, they're a stretch goal.
I'm thinking about getting into T-shirts too as well. It's a whole nother kettle of fish.
Oh, you're telling me, man.
I used to actually design them and make them and stuff like that. It's a whole different thing. I think it's probably easier with my own website, but still, it's like it's different to shipping the comics. So you got a whole bunch of questions and answers on here. Wolfsbane Comics. Oh, that guy's he's having a bad day.
Oh yeah, that's Beowulf actually.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah,
excellent, man. Well, everyone, Wolfsbane. Aaron, is there anywhere people can follow you out there on social media?
Oh yeah, definitely. You can hit me at Wolfsbane Comics on Twitter and Instagram. We also have a YouTube channel. It's for in the future when we're doing other promotional.
Are you putting anything up on there yet? Is there anything there yet that people can check out?
Just trailers and stuff. That's about it.
Well, just put the link in the private chat so I can put it in the chat for these guys in case they want to sub to you.
No problem.
Jasper's like, Mel, leave Mike alone. No, I want her to, Jasper. I want her to. She's like, she helps me when I miss things. Eric Grant back at number 59. I don't know. Kickstarter won't tell me. I grabbed that catch up tier. Excellent. Hal, Eric Grant. Thank you so much. I saw the number goes up. On Kickstarter, we don't have to refresh because it does that automatic thing, which is pretty cool. I wish Indiegogo did that.
Does.
All right. There it is there. We're just going to have to paste it in right here because otherwise I'm going to have to share out the thing. There you go. Wolfsbane Comics. 16 subs. Help a brother out. Let's get him some more subs here. I'll put that in the chat. There we go.
Thank you.
If you guys want to sub, you guys you're gonna be putting up more stuff.
Oh, if I can, I just have to figure out what I want to do with it.
The old conundrum. I hear you.
Exactly.
I'm about 3 years in. I'm still figuring it out. At the moment, I'm trying shorts and I'm just throwing everything at the wall and just waiting to see if something eventually sticks. The stuff that I know I could do, but it's like that takes too much time. But do it because it'll really help you. It'll really help you grow your presence. We've got fellow horror aficionado Brian Kriskow says, I would love to get Aaron on the horror movie club to do The Howling.
Ooh,
there you go. Well, Brian's got a channel that he's been around for ages. He writes Six Gun Gorilla.
Okay, I love that one.
Yeah. So, and he does like they look at horror movies and stuff. So, follow each other on Twitter and make a connection. Just before we leave, one last plug here. The book is Wolfsbane in Sheep's Clothing, part 2 of 6. Aaron is the guy, and you have been chosen to go on talk about The Howling. He says he'll hit you up. Excellent. Before we leave, I just want to show you guys something cool, hopefully. So, Aaron, this is my book.
Oh, the Lucent?
This is my campaign, the Lucent.
Nice.
Now, I think I've made a decision here. And if this is the wrong decision, don't hate me, guys. I'm just trying to make it special for you guys who were the backers who backed it during the campaign period. So I've had it for $20. Ignore this 29 AUD. It's $20 USD. And the campaign will be ending in 2 days. I'll do a show for it. I think I'm going to put it to 25 for when the campaign ends. And that's to reward people who jumped on while the campaign was live. That doesn't say it won't be 20 again, maybe in a bundle. You know, like when you bundle stuff together and it'll work out to be $20, something like that. But I want to balance. I want to balance the thing of making encouraging people to back during the campaigns and rewarding people who do versus I want to offer things hopefully going forward at a cheaper price. So it's a balance of that. But this is cool. That's 1 day and 23 hours left. I got this today. Nice. This is an unusual binding method. that I got from the printer. But if I take that out, these will all
fall.
These will all fall apart. So this is the proof copy. And can I just say that, I mean, we found this printer. I had a lot of printer issues on the first run. A lot of comics got lost. I wasn't 100% happy with the print, because what happened is in the darker areas, it was fine on pages like this, but some of these pages are quite dark. I like a night setting. If I can just find one, I like a nighttime setting, and you know, that kind of blue thing. It can get hard to print. So like in where the darker areas meet the inks, they sort of got a bit muddy and blended together. Ooh. This one, it's crisp. So the print job on the second edition, the colors better than the first edition, in my opinion. And as well, I don't think I'm going to run into any quality control issues that I ran into first time round. We're printing local, printing in Melbourne. The guy's cool, and yeah, I got this in like a couple of days, so it looks great. Nice. Apart from you won't get a bull clip binder on your copy, I promise. It'll be a professionally made thing. But yeah, that's all happening. So that is at the printer. All I have to do is basically approve it. What else is on this campaign? Let me just quickly share it back again. Scrolling down here. So, that's already printed. That's the limited edition. The puzzles, the magnets. Yeah, the magnets I have changed to. Where is it? They're limited now. So there's 7 sets left. That's it. And I will be sending these to go get made this week. And when that's done, I will have everything being in production by the end of this week for this campaign. So hopefully that'll get to me. It'll all be fine. Fingers crossed. And yeah, they'll start sending out. They'll start fulfilling. Exciting times for Mel. That's my wife to help me with the stuff. A bootleg. Have you looked into Indie Planet to sell to people in other countries? They are a print-on-demand service where you set the price. I'm not sure about print-on-demand. I'm a bit of a quality control freak. I want to look at every single copy that I have when I send it out to make sure there's no issues to it. That's just me. Other people can do other things, and that's just for now. Plus, as well, I can't send you this to the States for $8, but I can send it to you for $10. I can send it to you with other stuff for $15, which I think is actually pretty competitive in this space. Now, when I do a floppy, I'll be able to send that to you guys for $8 shipping. So, like, I think that's pretty competitive. All right, that is it. Aaron, thank you for coming on. Thank you for being a fantastic guest. Thank you for indulging my conversation.
Oh, thank you for having me, man.
No, and thank you for showing off your amazing looking book, Wolfsbane. Everyone go check that out. Go grab it. Go follow Aaron on Twitter and his YouTube. So thank you, Aaron. The biggest thank you goes out to, of course, as always, the most wonderful, amazing, incredible, phenomenal, sexiest chat in all of CG. I think I might try something a little bit different and fun tomorrow. Suggested to me by Jeremy and the gang over there at on Comics Talk over there on Jeremy's channel. I think I'm going to go through my Spider-Man collection tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
I've got some cool key books in there that I'd love to show off, show you some of my personal favorites. And I think it'll be a fun show. Like I'm enjoying talking about comics, and we're going to continue on with that. All right. That's it for me. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, everyone. I hope you all have a fantastic night. Good night. Bye.
Individually, we are weak, like a single twig, but as a bundle, we form a mighty